What's inside of this Apache case is approximately worth this much, and more importantly, it could have bought you this on eBay. So let's talk about that. But before we do, let's roll that intro. Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, we are doing a mail day, and more importantly, the first one of the year. So, not really much of a New Year's resolution for me, but my master plan was, over the course of, this year, I do want to do a few more mail day videos. They are a favorite part of my being on YouTube, so yeah, that's why I want to do them. I really like getting on, showing you guys some of the stuff, and honestly just, talking about why it is I choose to collect what I do. Obviously, very popular on YouTube. So hey, if you enjoyed today's content and you want to support the video, definitely feel free to leave a like. And if you really think I deserve it, feel free to consider subscribing to become part of the Gengar Gang. Join me on my happy little journey. Now, without further ado, let's jump right on into my first purchase, which is going to be some vintage EX cards. Ooh. So I got this EX Crystal Guardians theme deck. This is the Storm Surge theme deck from EX Crystal Guardians. So back in the day, and honestly even up till now, what ends up happening is as they release sets, they also release theme decks for the TCG enthusiasts out there. As you can see, each deck comes with a whopping 60 trading cards. And probably the big thing is a specially selected holographic foil card. So I believe what ends up happening is that with every theme deck back in the day, what they used to do is they used to also throw you a Cosmos foil version of one of the cards in the set. So you didn't get any EX cards or Gold Star cards in these particular theme decks, but it was nice because at least you got the ability to get a special variant of a card. These theme decks usually go for anywhere from $100 to $300. I think especially during the hype of like 2020, I bet you could have got $300 for something like this. Nowadays, and the price I actually paid was $137.50. So nothing too crazy. As you can see, the name of the theme deck is up there. And yeah, I just liked it because, as many people know, I have a EX Crystal Guardians booster box. One day in the future, if I choose to display it, I would obviously also like to have a few theme decks, which is actually why, I ended up buying another one. Boom. So this is the EX Unseen Forces Golden Sky theme deck. The reason I thought this one was really cool is Ho-Oh is on the cover art here, and as you can see, that's the Golden Sky up top, down below. So imagine this, for sale only in North America, all the way back in 2005. A couple interesting things about this one. I paid $155.50 for this one, and similar gimmick on the back. You can see you get 60 Pokemon cards, including a specially selected holo card, a metallic coin, a rulebook, and a playmat, as well as some damage counters. So yeah, the real gimmick with these is I just think they look super dope. I actually am fortunate enough to own both of the booster boxes that those sets come from. And so coincidentally, I've been slowly but surely building a accidental collection of EX themed booster or rather theme decks, and as a result I thought, yeah, why not? I mean, they cost very little comparative to some of the stuff from the era, and I really think that in the long run they're gonna make a sick collection all its own. As you can see, many of these are beautifully computer animated artwork, and so I think it's totally worth it to pick a few up just because they're nostalgic, they look really cool, and they also go very well with the main thing that I collect, which is EX series booster boxes. So I'm actually gonna slide these over here and move on to the next thing that I purchased, which is 4 PSA graded cards. Now, I'm going to actually show them 2 at a time, and the reason I will is because they are actually matching sets. So these are the full art Pokemon stamp box full art cards that were released back in 2021. If you don't know, these cards came as part of a special Japanese stamp box. obviously sold in Japan, and these cards were difficult to obtain for a variety of reasons, especially here in the States. I believe one of the reasons it was difficult was because they were in such high demand in Japan that it was very rare to see them actually make their way out into the world, outside of the country. And then the second thing was that some of these boxes contained Japanese stamps, and I believe because of some legal issues or legal problems, there was actually an issue with exporting those boxes in sealed condition if you wanted to get them out. So interestingly enough, there may even be a really interesting story behind why these are so difficult to get your hands on as ungraded cards. Nowadays, obviously, in the secondary market, there are a ton all over the place. So first up, I'll talk about the Cramorant. So I ended up paying $1,000 for the 4 cards, which breaks out to an average of about $250. If I was really, you know, trying to like weigh the, you know, proportions, I guess you could say I paid like $125 for each Cramorant, and I paid about $375 for each Pikachu. Once I read off the numbers, you'll see why that makes a little bit of sense. So obviously, I paid about $1,000 for the 4 cards, but this Cramorant, the last one that sold, was on January 16th of 2023, and that was for $172.50. Obviously, because it sold on eBay, it's also going to have taxes associated with it. So honestly, this is a kind of near $200 card if you're doing the math on it. Obviously, super beautiful card, inspired very much so by Japanese artwork, and so I think this was a really cool concept that they rolled out with the stamp box and the 2 promo cards. I've noticed Cramorant has gotten a ton of attention, whether it be via different artworks or really just kind of a frequency with which it's being featured in Pokemon card artwork. So I think this is a really cool Pokemon card. Obviously, the lesser of the 2, purely because of the popularity of Pikachu. So here is the Pikachu artwork, and obviously it's a gorgeous card. It's a full art. It's very Japanese inspired in terms of its artwork and design, and obviously as a result, it is an incredibly popular card. This card is selling for last at auction, at least on January 17th of 2023, for $380. So it's a pretty significant card. So as you can see, the 2 of them together sold for $380 and $172.50. I got them for $500 if you're, you know, doing the math. So I think I got a pretty significant discount. The other thing that's really cool is that they are sequential certs. So if you'll notice, the Cramorant is number, you know, digits ending in 167, and then the Pikachu is 168. So it's nice to know that they're both Gem Mint 10s, so they're matching grades, and they were graded sort of sequentially. And then I do have, again, another set of these. So that is really cool. This is 169, nice, and then 170. So again, a really nice set of Pokemon cards. The Cramorant, by the way, the population on this card is 3,720 and 39 PSA 10s. I'll put on screen the remainder of the population, but the overwhelming majority of the cards that are getting graded are PSA 10. For the Pikachu, the population is 4,665. So obviously a ton of these have, you know, been printed. A ton of these have gotten out into the world and gotten graded. And so, yeah, there's just a million of them out there, I suppose, or at least enough that the populations have swelled pretty dramatically, pretty quickly. And that's kind of where we're at. So there are some very popular cards. I presume we have seen the prices going upwards, and I don't think it's going to stop. These Japanese exclusive promos tend to be a little harder to get your hands on for a variety of reasons, and so I think the general increases in prices make those types of cards a really good investment. And lastly but not least, as promised in the promo, I bought this thingy. Well, what's in this thingy, you ask? Well, I'm going to open it on camera and make you guys watch as I fumble around. So, not turning this into a demo slash, you know, here's how cool these items are, but these are waterproof, weatherproof cases. The idea is that they're supposed to at least be watertight and dustproof, and you can see. Let me know down below if you guys want to see this thing put to the test. Well, the contents of it won't be put to the test, trust me. However, if you guys want, I am happy to put, you know, a modern booster box in here and really test this thing out. These things can be, in theory, a really good way to protect very valuable collectibles that you might have. So if you want to see that video, leave a like down below, and without further ado, allow me to show you the newest collection item of mine, a EX Sandstorm booster box in sealed, dare I say, really mint condition. So this booster box was released originally September 18th, 2023, which means this year, this box is going to be 20 years old. I realize many Pokemon sets have hit that anniversary already, especially some of the ones that are fan favorites, but for fans of the channel, you know that I am a huge EX fan. My main goal along the past few years, probably the past 10 years, has been collecting one of each EX booster box in as good a condition as I possibly can, as well as just rounding out a general amount of cards that I have. So for me, this is the peak achievement that I could possibly get. A little bit of the story about this particular booster box. This booster box I actually came up upon due to a friend. So the friend is the person who actually put me on and said, hey, someone's actually selling this, you might be interested in it. And I said, oh, word. So I ended up getting in contact, and we ended up working out a deal where, again, if you're a fan of the channel, I will leave a link in the video and you'll see it pop up in the title card, but I got some PSA graded returns back quite a while ago. And, you know, way back then, I got actually a Gold Star Charizard graded a PSA 9, a reverse Venusaur from the Legendary Collections graded a PSA 10, and a Expedition Blastoise graded a PSA 10. So those are some pretty big hitters. Each of them is worth at least $2,000 to $3,000 each. This booster box is about $12,000. That is the market value based on some auctions that have occurred in the past few years. And so what I ended up doing is brokering a trade with some cash to boot. So it really was a very impactful way for me to be able to afford this box, because obviously no one wants to pay a crazy amount of money for something that cost $100 20 years ago, but it's really good when you can kind of hedge your bets, and that is a very valuable lesson that I hope many people can kind of hear and empathize with. If you can, make investments that will help you achieve the goals in your hobby. That's one thing that I've always preached on this channel is, hey, if you really want to, and you can, you know, take some risks, make some investments, and then use those investments to theoretically achieve what you want in this hobby. You want a first edition Charizard, you know, buy enough Evolving Skies booster boxes, and theoretically it was possible for you to get your first edition Charizard. I'm not saying it's always going to happen, and statistically it's probably not, but making some smart investments can help make attaining some of these more vintage, crazy goals very achievable. And this is just an example of that. So a couple things about this set: 100 cards, some absolutely gorgeous EX cards in there. This was themed around the particular desert area that was available in the 3rd generation of the Pokemon trading card game. As you can see, as I've shown a couple of times now, the different sides of the booster box pretty prominently feature the Generation 3 Pokemon. Over here, we've got Out of the Desert into the Sandstorm. So this probably references that part in the game where the sandstorm kicks up and you need the goggles from May. Spoiler alert, but if that's a spoiler alert, you're maybe a couple decades late. The brand new Pokemon TCG EX Sandstorm unleashes a fury of exciting new Pokemon cards for Pokemon trainers to master. So the set notes, you had over 100 cards. You got a 60 card deck that you needed to play, and it was recommended for ages 10 and up. Also interesting to note, and obviously not a feature anymore, but there were e-reader cards in this set. So many of the cards had that very, very iconic design that was compatible with e-reader Pokemon. You got a shift tree on that side, and the one thing that I wanted to note, so when I got this was actually not even broken yet. So these little perforations are actually meant to fold upwards so the booster box can display basically with this part of the artwork showing and the box sitting like this. and they weren't even broken. I actually broke them, and the reason you do something like that is you push this down lightly with the intention, and you can actually see that one's stuck because that one's not even broken yet. But if you push down lightly, you can actually see and inspect the inside of the booster box to see what some of the pack artworks look like. Obviously, a resealed booster box may not always have pack arts that match that came from the set. The other thing you might want to look for is if it's an old enough set, it may contain a box topper, so that could always be another indicator. It's not a foolproof way of detecting if a box is resealed, but it's always a good sanity check, and most of these vintage booster boxes don't even have the perforations still intact, so it's honestly not that big a deal if you decide to break the perforations. But yeah, friends, that is my mail day, and that's actually a great and wonderful thumbnail, so that might just be my thumbnail. But as I was mentioning, I'm a big fan of the EX era. In case you've been following my journey, that brings me up to 13 EX series booster boxes, and this one makes 14. So that means I only need 2 more, EX Holon Phantoms and EX Legend Maker. So if you happen to be the owner of one of these, or if you ever stumble upon one of them and want to help a PokeTuber out, feel free to point them my way. My email is always in the description, and I'm always happy to do business. But with all that said, friends, thanks again for checking out another video. I hope you enjoyed today's video. You don't really see this many older EX era things pop up on the internet. Obviously, a lot of times it's WotC walking out of the closet kind of stuff, but EX is one of the truest and most rarest types of Pokemon cards you'll see out there. It was when Pokemon was at its lowest. So I take a lot of pride in my collection, and I take a lot of pride in knowing that I bring you guys content that is very different from much of what the general, public might be able to get their hands on. With that said, if you liked today's video, definitely feel free to leave a like, and hey, again, if you're not already, consider subscribing. Occasionally, I make jokes about Alina Lopez. And if that doesn't keep you around, maybe the EX Pokemon cards will. Other than that, friends, thanks again for checking out another video. Again, leave a like if you like the cards, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace!